Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a Tales of the Valiant game set in the world of Midgard called Scourge of the Dragon Empire. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, the whole dedicated podcast, our awesome Discord server, a whole bunch of stuff that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish. There's really a ton of material that's available, a ton of tools, ton of support, ton of awesome people that you get to talk to. And most of all, you help me put on shows like this. So to the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. So last week, let's go to Obsidian here. Last week, our characters were making their way to the village, or I guess it's a town called Segatan's Anvil. Segatan's Anvil is set on the river. There's a nearby river, the Ardennes River, and Dragon Empire trade takes place along the river. And so Segatan's Anvil is there to do like taxes and make sure that all the right stuff is getting there and protect the trade route and all of that. And there is a adult green dragon, half basilisk adult green dragon named Stonegaze, who commands over this region. And the characters are there to kill this dragon, to assassinate Eustasia Stonegaze, which will cause troubles for the Dragon Empire, in particularly the trade, Adisha's trade route. This all fall. Adisha is the Morza. There are 9 Morza, and the Morza are the dragons who are in charge of the whole Dragon Empire. And one of these Morza is known as Adisha, who's a very powerful, like probably an ancient red dragon. Adisha's control would be broken heavily if they lose, if Asia Stonegaze is lost. So the characters made their way to the village. They got their way to the town. They've been going around the town. They met some other folks. They actually got a suite at a nearby inn that they found a secret passage that leads down. They went down into the secret passage and have been making their way through the tunnels below. I had to do some improv, roll some random encounters and use some maps that I happen to have on hand to kind of make up for the fact that I didn't have maps for the sewers underneath. I might actually pick out a map for some sewers underneath since they're going that way now, as they are making their way to Sapphire's Song, which is a villa up on the mountainside that kind of oversees the river, and then deal with Segatan's Anvil. So good news is I have a pretty good focused game today. I know where they are. I know where they're starting. What did they got attacked? Did I write was past Mike Shea? Past Mike Shea was not kind to me. Past Mike Shea did not write down notes of where things ended. So I have to remember here. It was on a random thing. They fought a roper and defeated a roper who had kind of been embedded in the ceiling above. I don't remember what happened after that. Oh, past Mike Shea, you didn't write your notes in the notes so that I would know what it is. So I think, let's see, what else would be down there? Somebody might remind me, and then I'll improv my strong start. But otherwise, I will prepare a strong start, so I have one ready in case it happened right after because I know they defeated the roper, and I know they were headed further in, but I don't remember. I know I often end like on a cliffhanger, and I would often end on a cliffhanger in something like this, but I don't remember what it was, and I didn't write it down. Write down the one thing. If you're going to write notes, this is the thing that I need. I don't know if everybody needs this, but I certainly know that I need it. If I'm going to write any note in my game, the thing I want to write down is, where did it end? Right? Where did the session end? And sometimes I have players who keep really good notes. And in fact, I do have players, but they are written down. So, I can't see their notes because they're written down like in paper. But even if all I need to do, and it takes like 5 seconds, right? I can actually open my notes in Obsidian on my phone and just type in "it ended here." And all I need is a little thing in my head to remind myself of what it is. Getting to that thing, you don't have to write real fancy notes. You don't have to write like notes that are going to be preserved for 1,000 years that other people are going to read and understand. You only need to put something that you remember, right? Something that will just trigger you. Oh, that's right. It was this. That's all I need. And I don't have it because I ran 2 other games since then. And I can barely remember my own name, much less what happened 3 games back. So we're going to create a new template for today. Today is the 24th. That all automatically populates. That's great. Obsidian, thank you. And we have everybody except Emmert today. We have a full house of characters today. And I am stuck in that strong, don't have a strong start. I don't remember what the strong start is. Maybe it'll come to me. Probably not. But I do know that I need a sewer map. So we have a couple of maps actually today. Let me pull one up. We're going to start by looking at the locations themselves, because I know what direction they're headed in. I know where they're going. I know what path they decided to take to get into Sapphire Song, and that's good. And the path they picked is a good meaty one that I know I can fill out. So I'm happy with that. They could have picked lots of different ways to get in there. So this is a map of the city. I've got that. And I decided that upper left is where Sapphire Song is. And I drew a little thing on the inn that has, you know what, I might have written it down on my paper notes. I might have to run upstairs and get them. So this is the town of Segatan's Anvil itself. Then this is a handy map of the location itself. So it's between Sayaz and Sarkland. Segatan's Anvil is right around there. So we know that. And then here is my map of the Bastion. This is of Sapphire Song, the Villa of Sapphire Song. So it is a 3-level kind of place. And now I know that they're coming in from the bottom here. I will probably add a little offshoot onto the lower right of this that connects to the lower sewer system. So now what I need is a sewer system, like a map of some sewers. And I'm going to go to my Dyson commercial map gallery. Wait for these to load. Let's see, we'll do 4. The Dyson commercial, so Dyson Logos is the creator of these maps. These maps are commercially available, so you can use them for other things. And one of the things I did is built a Dyson commercial map gallery that makes it easy for me to be able to very quickly scan through maps and look for things. So here's one that could work. This one's got kind of a little sewer system underway. I've actually used that one before, but just because you used a map before doesn't mean you can't use it again. But I wonder if they have sort of a different sewer system map. Here's one, but it's kind of linear. That one on the left there, that's a little bit linear, so that one doesn't really suit me. That one on the lower left, that one could work, but it's got too many notes. This one's not bad either. This one, they call it a tomb, but it could easily stand in for sewers. We'll open that in a new tab and get that handy. One of the nice thing about Dyson maps is because they're black and white and they're not featureless, but the features are pretty universal. You can use them for just about anything. I use Dyson maps exclusively in my Numenera game, so a high science fantasy game worked really well. There's a sunken altar, but I don't really need that. That doesn't really help me. Here's a sewer complex. This isn't bad. All right, so that should be enough to try them out. Let's look at the sewer complex first. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, this is not bad. There's some kind of interesting stuff going on here. Very, very typical kind of sewery sort of place. I think we're just going to go with that. That one looks really good. So I'm going to save a copy off to my desktop here, and I'm going to print a copy so I have one to throw on my notes. Yeah, and I don't think I'm going to have them spend a lot of time down in here. But I'm not going to have them spend a lot of time down here. But there's some fun little challenges that they could have here. There's portcullis, right? There's a portcullis that they might have to squeeze through or figure out how to get through. They're 9th level, so they got lots of ways to deal with big challenges. I think encounter wise, well, let's take a look. So we're going to jump over to the book and let's see if there's any sewer encounters in the Game Master's Guide. Do they have anything that could work sort of as a sewer encounter, that I could use for sewer encounters? They have Arctic, Badlands, coasts. Coasts could possibly work. Desert could possibly work because they're kind of in the desert. Farmlands, forests, grasslands, hills, mountains, plainier, swamps. A swamp could work. Underground could also work. Underwater, maybe, probably not. Urban. So we have a couple that we could use here. So let's pop open another feature of the 5e Artisanal Database, which is available to all patrons of all paid patrons of Sly Flourish. We have a dice roller in here. We'll start with urban. So they're tier 2. So we'll drop a tier 2 urban encounter, and that's a 12. So we got a 12. Museum curator returns to the city with unknown artifact. That doesn't really work. Resemble a highly stylized goats all eating each other. Suspicious of being followed, the curator seeks to hire guards watching the item overnight until its origin can be returned later in the evening. That's too much. All right, that doesn't work for a sewer. 7 is accident in the Master Alchemist lab results in terrifying explosions. So these really are urban encounters, so that doesn't really work. We could do an underwater. We'll use the same numbers. So 12 was Sahuagins, and 7 was Sea Hag. Have we had a hag, really? We haven't really had a hag, and it could be interesting to have a hag down here. Would be sort of an interesting encounter. Underground, we'll look at 7 and 12. Passageway opens up. I already had a roper. I think I rolled the roper, right? I think I rolled underground and came up with a roper. And 7 have hobgoblins, so that doesn't work. Swamp. 12 is bound form of muscular warlord wearing plate mail on the branches of Morgo. The warlord is bleeding from a gash in their abdomen. If revived, the orc tells of a betrayer. Yeah, so there's a dying orc warlord. And 7 is shambling mounds. So shambling mounds are not bad. You could have sewery shambling mounds being led by a hag. Could be kind of fun. Let's take a look at the monster vault here. I'm kind of liking this. And we will go to monsters. And we will go to hag. So green hags are CR3. Sea hags are CR2. So they're pretty low. But I guess it doesn't matter too much. And even though they're 9th level, they won't have any trouble with this. But they don't, I'm not looking to give them like a real... What I am going to do while I'm thinking about it, though, get my notes then here, is... we'll do a green hag. Make her a sewer hag. And she is on page 210. And then shambling mounds. And shambling mounds are on 293. And they're CR5s. So we have 6 characters that are 9th level. So that 9, 18, so 27 CRs is the total, which, lots of room. That's lots of high-end room there. Oh, it's, yeah, so right, they're 9th, so it's still half. And the maximum is about a 14, right? So the maximum CR of a creature they can face is about a CR 14, higher than that, and it's potentially deadly. And they can face up to 27 total challenge ratings of monsters, higher than that, and it's potentially deadly. Shambling Mounds are CR 5s. So I think like 3 or 4 of these guys, 4 would be 20. That would be, supposedly harder. That would be a longer fight. But they're really effective. So we could throw 4 Shambling Mounds on them. And a green hag, and we could have her kind of be like protected by them somehow. That she's tied to them, so she can live as long as they're alive, something like that. That could be interesting. And she could be what does she want? So who is she, for one? Let's get a name for her, because it could be that they don't fight her, right? I like Antigon. Antigon's a cool name. Sister Antigon, the green hag. Antigone. I like Antigon. I go with Antigon. It sounds cool. And her shambling, she calls them shamble folk, stalk the characters in the sewers. Let's jump back into our notes. In our campaign support, we have a factions list. Is there a particular god that Dagon follows? Got a lot of Laughing Nikishi, the Laughing Darkness, Blood Muzzle, Man Killer, the One Who Knows the Path, the Two-Faced God, Patron of Gnolls. Laughing Nikishi could be kind of fun. Could she be a Gnoll hag? Why not be a Gnoll hag? Right? That'd be kind of fun. Why not have a Gnoll hag? And what is her kind of, why is she down? She's probably happy to kind of eat and sacrifice so she's probably, she'd be willing to beg for her life to tell more information about what's going on there. But she's probably happy to eat whoever kind of wanders down in the sewers. And she knows like these places are pretty dangerous and sometimes people try to escape down here and she's happy to eat them. So I think that kind of works as our strong start. Then they navigate into the sewers, into the lower levels of Sapphire's Song. And then, infiltrate Sapphire's Song, and then assassinate Eustacia Stonegaze. Those are pretty much the scenes for today. So the scenes are pretty well set. I know what's going on there. Let's talk about the characters a little bit. So Amavin, actually what we can do, close all these here, and we'll go to Dragon Empire, and we'll go to characters. Actually, let's open this up in a new tab. There we go. So we have Gaudenzia, and let's see. At 8th level, everybody wants magic armor, of course. And they are Gaudenzia. Let's see. Gaudenzia is the gnome ranger nomadic outcast. Probably recognizes the hunting instincts of Gaudenzia. Oh, that was, sorry, wrong one. Gaudenzia. There we go. Amavin. Let's take a look at Amavin here. Elfro cosmopolitan criminal. Once goggles of night. I think he got a magic crossbow. I think I haven't updated my notes, so I'm not exactly sure. Wish list would be goggles of night and a magic crossbow. Probably can recognize that this killing Stone Gaze disrupts not just Adisha's trade route, the whole southern reach of the Dragon Empire. Cal is a druid. Kalindra is looking for any druidy magic items. Probably can tell something is keeping the waters of the lower cisterns very clean, something organic. And the secret to that is the maintainers of Sapphire's Song have black puddings in the water that keep it clear of nasty organic impurities. I think that's kind of fun that there's black puddings inside. Our black puddings are on page 62. We can bold that if we want. I think I kind of like that. That's sort of a fun thing. Mateo is our mechanist. I'll tell you, between just us, the mechanist is crazy overpowered. I don't know what happened, but the armor mechanist has 4 attacks per turn that do 2d6. 2 of them do 2d6 plus, a lot. The other one is just 2d6 with no ability bump, but you'd still get a magic bump. And they crit on 19s and 20s, which means he does about 40 damage a turn. He does a ton of damage, and I think is outpowering. I don't know, maybe I haven't seen a monk, but it feels like a monk that does twice the weapon damage because they get an extra d6 damage on all attacks, and they count as light weapons, which means they can take the light weapon feat that lets them attack twice with an offhand. It's a crazy amount of damage, and then the crits on top of that. It's not really min-maxing, like it's part of the class, but boy, it's broken. And I think he's aiming to get 2nd level in a fighter, in which case he gets action surge, and then he's got like 6 attacks, with like great weapon, great sword level damage. It's really a lot. So he's not getting any damage magic items anytime soon, I'll tell you. So Mateo can probably the well-constructed sewers and cisterns below the city. Rowan is our fighter. Can tell that Jambuka can still be very loyal to their draconic overseers. We don't really need to have, we can cut some of our words here. You get rid of these cantels and just, we know that. Tolstoy is our mage who is the group is fulfilling the primary drive of the Dragon Hunters of Mott. That's a fun one. So I've got secrets. I have character-driven secrets. Theoretically, that means I don't need to have as many main secrets. We are going to look at last week's notes and see if there are any secrets that I want to move over. You know what? I didn't have as many secrets last week either. Eustacia Stonegaze is a half-basilisk who loves decorating her villa with the statues of her victims. I like that one. It helps me remember to kind of put statues of the victims, but I think I already did that one. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to grab all these secrets and we're going to just paste them right over. And then we'll delete ones that we don't need. Barges travel up and down the Ardennes River carrying food and supplies between Ashadar and Sarkland. Stonegaze's responsibility is to ensure these barges are protected and accounted for in Segatan's Anvil. They already know that. Sapphire's Song hosts a temple to Segatan, Lord of Ocean and Eternity. It used to be a shrine to Disenvere, the Star Touch, so that they do not know. Eustocia Stonegaze acts as a prophet of Segatan towards the lower scaled folk in Jambuka. Adisha admires Stonegaze's cunning. Rumor is the two have several draconic children who may one day grow up to be Urmanli themselves. Stonegaze's son, Mensooth Willow Viper, young yellow dragon, resides in the villa along with his mother. He handles much of her daily tasks and is likely to be Ramonli himself one day. Those are pretty good. So those are 6 secrets. I don't know if I need more secrets than that, really. Like, that all feels fine. Locations. So I have this set of Segatan's Anvil, and then I have these lists, which I can drop in for the locations here. I am going to add the sewers of Segatan's Anvil, and I'm going to put I'm going to drop some kind of location thoughts here. So this is the map. That is not the map that I used. This is the map. So, damn it, there's a name. Oh, you know what? I've got it in my own book has this, the workbook. So my book, the Lazy DM's workbook, has a thing that I call lazy lairs. Or I joke that these are Sly Flourish's mundane locations. And they were locations that you might often use. And one of them they have is sewers. And in the sewers, I have some specific ideas here. So we are going to just copy. Whoops, what did I do? I did something bad. There we go. I'm going to copy over some of these things here. So like a large sluice. We'll have a man-chopping sluice, like a sluice that's so big that if you get stuck in it, you'll just be grinded up to mulch. Floodgates, large floodgates would be good, and like one-way floodgates. There's a thieves' den. Let's see, how about an abandoned thieves' den? A shrine to who's the hags to Laughing Nikishi. That works. A deep drain. A chamber of bones, and we will have hovel. So looking at the map, yeah, so some of these places we can kind of, I think that this can work out. So like there's that main, if I'm thinking about like the direction that they're coming from, I kind of like that they're coming from that southernmost passage, making their way north. There'll be an old door on the right, and that leads into like the hallways that lead into Sister Antigon's lair with like an altar and stuff like that. And then she's actually in the sluice area because people sometimes get swept down or up through these passageways and into the man-chopping sluice, and they're grinded up into bits, and then she takes the bits and enjoys a fine feast. And then the abandoned thieves' den could be there on the left. So I think, that fills out like good pieces of this location. I'm pretty happy with that. So that works. Then let's look at Sapphire's song itself. Let's see, I don't need that. And see if these locations still work. So Sapphire song lower chambers, we have a forgotten shrine. Who would that god? Let's do a southern god for that one. So let's go to my campaign support faction list. Open that in a new tab, and we will roll a 20-sider. I lost my dice roller. It's very handy having this little dice roller, and it's not all junked up with fake 3D dice. 9, Isis, goddess of the golden dawn, love and mercy. Then gentle maiden, the lady of the healing hand. I like this. We will throw that in there. I forgot shrine to Isis. And then, let's see, we'll do some parens here. Golden goddess of dawn, love, mercy, the gentle maiden. Lady of the healing hand, daughter of Aten, mother of Horus, and we'll get rid of all this stuff. There we go. That works. And we were going through locations in the lower area. So we have Sapphire Song lower chambers. We have Forgotten Shrine to Isis. And I think there's some Jambuka that like to go to that altar and pray to the gentle maiden for, please get us out of this horrible situation we're in, having to serve this basilisk. We have those little rooms, which I think are I wrote lower caretaker quarters, supply chambers, aquifers, Kobold and Jambuka servants and quarters. I have hidden shrines to the southern gods, but we already have that. Lower kitchens, that would be those like areas to the left, and pantries. And then we have kind of like the lower dining areas. What are those chambers to the left? That could be like probably an armory, right? And where's the treasury, right? Where would Stonegaze keep her treasury? I think probably in the upper floor. Yeah, I think the treasury's up on the upper chambers. We have the observation balcony. I think I had torture chambers. We're going to move those to treasury. And I don't know that that Stone Gaze really cares much about torturing, and we don't need to do that anyway. So that works. Mid chambers, we have the audience hall, and this would be Willow Vipers. Willow Vipers audience hall. Guard posts. The speakers chambers. Gifted tapestries. Guard towers, right? We have guard towers. We'll do the towers. Then the upper chambers, we have the observation balcony, higher guard towers, and the treasury. And then the open shrine in Stone Gaze's lair is up even above that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Does that give me enough? Are there enough sort of interesting, flavorful features here? We could have like a tapestry. Let's see, the mid chambers might have tapestry of the signing of what's his name, the scrolls. This is in, let's see, if we go to the Midgard World Book and we go to Dragon Empire, the Scrolls of Marat, right? We'll have a bust of the Dread Sultan. Well, let's see, we could have tapestries of the first sultans. They probably don't have a bust of the Dread Sultan. I don't know that the dragons like the Dread Sultan too much. So that gives us plenty of locations to explore. Notable NPCs. Let's see if Lavusta Doomcaster. We have the Birdfolk Druid. Boy, Javia Dusty Rock. I roleplayed him in the last game, and man, that was powerful. Because like he was a druid trying to keep up a grove that was dying and was being limited on the amount of water he could use. So he had to decide which plants to try to keep alive and which plants had to die, like Sophie's Choice. And there's water like right there, but the dragon's like, no, we control the water supply, period. So I am going to drop in we'll go to our NPC generator here and pop open an NPC. Bayard Fellbelly, ambitious halfling folk hero with facial tattoos, dresses uniform and wants to honor someone. Bayard. I like Fellbelly. That's pretty funny. That could be one of the Jambuka that they run into. We'll do another one. Gregory Halfrock, ambitious bugbear gambler. We'll say he's scarred. That works. So there's a couple of NPCs. Spring Song. Let's see. Havrick Spring Song. A dragonborn priest. And a dragonborn priest of of Segaton. And his third in command. So there's some NPCs that they could run into while they're wandering around. I'm not going to place them in any particular place. I can decide where to put them. Did I have monsters? Oh, that's right. There's 2. Yeah, I got a big pile of monsters, but we're gonna carve through some of these here. So we have Jambuka veterans and knights, kobold, swift blades and witches, spell scale vassals, 2 of them, strife blade and doom shield, 1 of copper, 1 of the void, guard drakes, black puddings, dragonborn mages, whose page number I did not look up. Let's look up mage here. That'd be under NPCs. And we will go to mage. Boop. 367. Yeah, I think I can make this let's see. I'm not going to make it a rollable table. I guess I'll make these rollable. So that gives me 7 to roll on. We'll move the black puddings because I know where the black puddings are. And that screwed up my whole thing here. So let's see. We'll do a separate list here. There we go. So I got a D6 rollable list for some of the monsters that are wandering around here. Veterans and knights. Page. Let's see. I'm on the wrong side. Well, doesn't matter. Knights are also on page 367. What are the veterans like? I like veterans. Veterans are on 371. Okay. What is in the treasury? What did I offer last time? And did I give them stuff? I think I already gave them some of this stuff. I don't think I gave this, so I'm going to drop this set of gear in here. And then we'll roll up some treasure for the treasury. This is a tier 2 treasury. And we're going to go to Tales of the Valiant Treasure, and we're going to do 5th to 10th. And look at that, I fixed the gemstone problem that I was having last time. These are all pretty good. It's a lot of treasure. Anything I want to cut? Flooded Orcish pewter statuette. Dreamscape elven fine set of silver serving utensils. That's nice. Yeah, the database got updated. I updated a few things. I'm updating it all the time. I've been adding lots of things here and there, but I fixed the trails of the Valiant treasure generator, and I also separated treasure generators out from the other stuff in the 5e80b this past, I think I did that like a day or so ago. So I'm always working on new pieces. I don't think I'm going to offer a ring of protection yet. Bracers of armor are probably not bad. I don't want people to have crazy high armor classes, man. It's a hassle. What does restorative ointment do? First of all, why is restorative ointment showing up in my Tales of the Valiant? Oh, because I don't have separate Tales of the Valiant treasure. Okay, so it's like a healing potion that you can use 3 times. That's not bad. So that looks like a good set of treasure. Is there anything else missing from my notes here? Do I feel good about what I've got? So I got my maps. I printed out another map. I've got some secrets for the characters. I've got scenes on what they're going to do. I know how things are going to start. And I still forgot where it's going to start. Got a bunch of location names ready to go. Some NPCs, some monsters, and some treasure. I think I am all set. Did I do all of the 8 steps today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did all 8 steps. Look at that. So I am going to export this to PDF. We will try it at 85 scaling. See if that fits on a page. I like to have my notes on one page. Oh, it just fits on the page. I'm getting really good at being able to say how well it fits on a page. And I am printing that out. If you want to see what my notes look like, bang, there's my nice pretty notes. All set. Great. Oh, I didn't show it because I was on the wrong screen. I'll show it. Here they are. So my notes look like on one page. Ready to go. That plus my maps, and I am all set. Friends, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while we prepped for my game. If you enjoyed this show and you want more stuff like this, please consider subscribing to the Sly Flourish newsletter. It is absolutely free to sign up. You can find a link down in the show notes. You get a free adventure generator for signing up, and you get a weekly RPG-related article with all of the links to the stuff that I do all over the internet. You can also become a patron of Sly Flourish. You get access to things like the 5e artisanal database, which is what I've been using down below to do a lot of my prep. You get all my prep notes. You get like copies of my Obsidian notebooks that are there. You get all kinds of adventures, all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of stuff you get. It's a really good deal. A lot of stuff on the Patreon. And you can pick up any of my books. I was looking at the Lazy DM's workbook just earlier. You can get that on the Sly Flourish bookstore. You can get City of Arches, my book of city-based adventures. So it's a campaign city source book. You can get Forge of Foes, my book that I worked on with Scott Gray and Teos Abadia for getting the most out of the monsters for your 5e games. All kinds of great books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, available on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play an RPG.